Okay, so we're starting a new series analyzing SuperWHOLock. The Who part of SuperWHOLock, of course, is the longest running of the three, even if we really only count the first or second half of it. And this is a show that transcends fandoms, as it's one of the most popular shows of all time. Doctor Who started in 1963 and ran for 26 seasons, and then was rebooted in 2005. The show is still running. BBC just casted their next Doctor. We're going to see him soon. Um, there's also an extensive Doctor Who universe with lots of spin offs, including the Sarah Jane Adventures, Torchwood, tons of books, comic books, audio adventures, and fan shows. Doctor Who is undoubtedly considered a cultural phenomenon. So it's no wonder that it got sucked into fan bases that also frequented shows like Supernatural and Sherlock. Eccleston was the first Doctor of the reboot, ninth in the canon, and although he was only Doctor for 13 episodes, he did such a magnificent job of getting someone, me, who has never seen a shred of Doctor Who, to fall in love with the show. The self contained Bad Wolf arc is so well structured and well written that it really took the show to the next level. I think the first few seasons of the new series of Doctor Who contain some of the best written episodes of television for any genre, including season one, The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. This two-part arc was beautiful for a lot of reasons. The first being that the story itself, how it evokes brilliance from the main characters. Taking place in London during an air raid in World War II, the Doctor's once again plunge into the devastation of war, which we don't really find out how that affects him until later, or like why that affects him until later, but it was a great place to start in the first season. But this time, everyone he comes into contact with gets to live. A very rare occurrence. Um, and these two episodes really show the Doctor's pain and trauma specifically associated with war and death, even though we don't know why he's so affected by that yet. This is also a shining moment for Rose when she tries to comfort a young girl named Nancy that the world doesn't end in war, that they win, and the world will return to normalcy someday. It's a beautiful moment, and I think that it shows the hope and happiness that the Doctor has shared with her. And this scene is one of the very many reasons Rose is my favorite companion. Another reason that these episodes are so good is because of our first introduction to Jack. Jack Harkness. I think the addition of his character into the rest of the season was welcome and necessary with such dark and heavy content in these two episodes. Jack and his dynamic with the Doctor gave us an appropriate level of comic relief that was needed for such a dark episode. If the idea of getting into Doctor Who now seems daunting, I highly recommend starting at these two episodes and finishing season one, and that would cut the first seasons down to 5 episodes. I think you should watch all of it because it's truly, truly amazing. But because there's a million seasons, if you need to like go for the best, that's where I would start. Another important thing to talk about while rewatching Doctor Who is the regenerations. Now, I am someone who got into the show specifically for David Tennant. I powered through the first season just to get to him. But here's the thing, Christopher Eccleston was so good. I needed grieving time before I could watch the beginning of Tennant's run. The only thing that kept me going straight through was Rose. Rewatching The Christmas Invasion, I really, really love Billie Piper's acting. She's so brilliant. Rose has to watch the Doctor be inactive for so much of the episode, and you really watch her grieve the loss of her Doctor. Like, she knows this is still the Doctor, but her and Eccleston's Doctor had gotten so close that you could see it all over her face. And what I find interesting about regenerations is that they seem to tie together with their previous companion. Whether this is canon or not, I like the idea of Rose being in love with the Doctor, so when he regenerated, it was as someone more age appropriate for her. Like, her and Nine still had really great chemistry, and you can tell there was like love between them. And then when Nine regenerated into 10, David Tennant was obviously much younger, and then he and Rose could actually fall in love, and I just love that so much. We also see Rose have to come into her own a little bit and use everything she learned from the Doctor, while thinking that he's dead or not awake or whatever. Um, And that was kind of wonderful to see. Not that she wasn't always brilliant and strong, but because seeing anyone act selflessly in the face of grief is awesome to watch. Um, and then, of course, the Doctor wakes up and we get the surly, sarcastic David Tennant really step into the role of the Doctor. And all you can think is, this is why you should hire fans as actors, because they pour their whole soul into it. And it's unmistakable how much they love what they're doing. And I think that that really showed through with specifically David Tennant and Capaldi's Doctors. Is you can tell that they were fans of the show before they got the roles, and entirely growing up. Like, it was, the Doctor was part of their being before they became the Doctor. And I think seeing that is really impressive. Um, how this ties into, so I was on Tumblr in the golden SuperWHOLock days, and Doctor Who, um, I think all three, Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock, all kind of had like an equal footing in the fandom. Supernatural obviously had a gift for everything, so that was used a little bit more. Um, but I think one of the things that ties them together is that they center around a main character that is lonely. And you really see at the beginning of this first season with 9, and definitely in the those episodes that we talked about, you see that loneliness immediately, and how being with Rose and taking Rose on this adventure with him has really helped him work through that. And I think that the reason that this peaked for millennials was when a lot of us were teenagers. Um, and it's lonely being a teenager. Your parents don't understand you anymore. Apparently, there's like a threshold of time when you turn into an adult, and you forget what it's like to be a teenager. I pray I never get there. Um, but you're going through hormones, and there's a lot of changes, and you're worried about your future, and you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. And I think that's why these shows resonated so much, is they were, yeah, they were witty, they were funny, but they were so emotional, and they grabbed you. Um, and they made you feel less lonely. And then you go to Tumblr and you feel less lonely because there are other people that love these things the same way you do. Um, and I think that's most of the appeal of SuperWHOLock. Was it a dark time on the internet? Absolutely. But it was good. It was, I think there was a community that sometimes gets overlooked because we just get caught up in the, we were so annoying. We were teenagers. We were supposed to be annoying. It's just how it is. Um, but Doctor Who is something that's gotten me through a lot. And honestly, I hate saying it like this, SuperWHOLock. Those 3 shows have gotten me through a lot. What makes us annoying is the fact that we called it SuperWHOLock.